All right, we're ready to start some math. Only 2 pages today because we're going to take it a little bit lighter, which is no problem. We are just looking at data and dot plots today. We're going to look at data and see what we can tell from a dot plot. So I zoomed in real hard on this, and here we go. Today we're going to learn about words like cluster, cluster, and peak, and gap, and outlier. So let's take a look at them. You ready? All right, this is a cluster right here. That's a cluster. See how all of them are clustered together, all the data points? Here's another cluster. And then this is not a cluster because it only has one. It has to have at least two to be a cluster. Then we can look at a peak. This is your peak, this one right here, because it's your highest. It's the one that is super high. So that one is a peak, okay? A gap right here. Nobody's in 5 and 6. Nobody's in 13 through 18. So those are two gaps. And an outlier, one that is completely by itself, really far away from everyone else. So that's your outlier. It's an outlier, kind of like Brianna or Siavi. They're outliers and nobody likes them. Okay, so now we are going to describe the shape of the data. Use the word clusters, peaks, gaps, outliers in your answer. So there are two clusters, a peak at two gaps, and one outlier. That's what you would say. The median of the data is 8. How would the median change if it was calculated a second time without including 19? So since 19 is all the way out here, okay, what the median does is it crosses out one at a time, right? Biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, until we get to the middle. So it's saying if we took away one from the right, would the median change? Well, to find that, we're going to actually have to find the median. So let's actually go ahead and do that. So highest or smallest, biggest, 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 and it's right there is your median. Okay, it's at 8. Now, if I go ahead and get rid of that one, okay, you're gonna go ahead and see that. Oh, that's eraser. Hate the eraser on this, guys. It's so stupid. Ooh, boring. Okay, finally. Okay, if I got rid of that one, then what we would say is biggest or smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, small, big, small, big. And then that means that right here is your median between 7 and 8. So it's 7.5. So the median would get smaller. If you took away one of the biggest numbers, your median gets smaller in this case. That is your answer to 2. All right, now the mean of the data is 7. What would it mean if you changed it and calculated a second time without 19? Well, I imagine it would get smaller again for the exact same reason. You take out the biggest one, get rid of this, and now you have just this data set in here. And with these two clusters, it would probably add up and then divide by a little bit smaller of a number, meaning your mean would be smaller. That's it. And then it says which measure, mean, median, or mode, no, mean or median, just mean or median, describes the set best of the set given. I would say that the median right here at 8 is going to be the best for me because you can see that this cluster here and this one outlier over here, and then right, if you cancel those out, right in the middle here is going to be your median. So that's my answer. Moving on to the next page, and the last page today says in the space below, make a display of the data that enables you to the overall shape. So this right here, see these data? All you have to do is take that data and put it into a dot plot. So if I was going to do that, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to set it up for you. You would do a straight line, and you would say the smallest is looking like it's 10. So you would go from 10 and you would go all the way up to the biggest looks like it's 60, and I would count by fives because there's a couple of fives in there, like 45, so 10, 15, 20, blah, 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 and you go all the way up doing that, and then you plot them using circles. So blah, blah, if there were two tens or whatever, you're going to do that, and then you just do the exact same thing that we did here, where you're going to describe it using this language here. So there might be gaps, there might be clusters, there might be outliers. We're just looking at dot plots, and that's how we're going to do it. If you don't understand how to do this page, please go back and rewatch this page because that's how we do it. All right, I'm off to the gym. Got to go get swole. Adios.